Well, sports helped me out because it kept me out of trouble, man. Mom's a single mom. Really started me in sports probably in baseball around my third grade down in Jennings, third and fourth grade in Jennings. And I stayed with baseball for a little bit until they started throwing curveballs and all the other stuff that I couldn't hit. And so she got me into track, man, and football. So she kept me busy because me being a hard-hitting young man in Jennings by a single mom at that time, doing her thing in the army and a teacher educator herself. She had to keep me active. And so sports was just basically keeping me out of trouble. I really wanted to start being interested or thinking I could do anything with it until like eighth grade, when I started to stretch out a little bit and I started to take on the basketball a little bit because track was hurting my knees, baseball, like I said, the curveballs, and football, they was just targeting me too much. So I was like, let me do something a lot less, harmful on my body. But so basketball, I started probably about seventh, eighth grade. I started late, and then all I could do was like to play around the rim, dunk the ball, and make layups, and be an enforcer. So that was kind of my mentality of it. But sports saved me, man. It just, like I said, kept me out of trouble. I didn't really have a certain one coming on up. Like I said, basketball started was my final straw in my eighth grade. But I experimented with everything, you know what I mean? Because and I'm glad I did because I got a feel for it. I got to understand it, and I mold my kids to try everything as well when they coming on up. Don't just be, stationary in one sport.
Right. Because that's what I was gonna say. So, like, was it like boys' clubs, or was it more like community centers, or like
A little bit of
how
both.
did you kind of like? Okay, so you just kind of just once you went from one, you kind of figured it out, and so you say seventh or eighth grade, and when did you start dunking though?
I was
So
dunking in eighth. I was dunking in eighth grade. No, I was done my seventh grade. Seventh grade, I was dunking. Eighth, it was easy. But yeah, it was boys and clubs here, Royal Knights. I was in St. Cyr, Jennings Doodads. Anything my mom could find a way to put me in to keep me busy for that period of time. She did her thing, man. And so I was at Matthew Dickey's at one time. So, I was all over, man. But but I got a chance to have a lot of positive male role models in my life that, some I still stay in touch with to today. But, just gave me guidance or just stayed on top of me because I could have definitely went left fast.
So what was it like? Did you kind of engulf in like the high school scene, or it was just kind of like as you started playing, you started realizing like, man, I'm kind of good, and did coaches start coming around, kind of like picking and choosing, like, man, let me go pick Justin up to make sure that he next in line type deal. When you start seeing like kids coming out of middle school being kind of
Right.
like recruited by coaches, was it like
Yeah.
that?
Nah, I have none of that, man. Like I said, I was seventh, eighth grade. I was with the St. Cyr and Jennings Doodads and Vashon Spirits and stuff like that. And then we got a chance to play the Mustangs, the Eagles, and things back then. And I had solid, good games versus them. And so as I got into my freshman year, those coaches were needing the extra body or need somebody with my talent, my skill level, was saying, hey, let's figure out if we can do this. You come over here and you can mature and develop over here in this program that's going, up, which was the Eagles at that time, and everything else was just something to, pacify and time or have you there as like, the Vashon Spirits and stuff like that, just to make sure that you have something to do. But the Eagles program knew that, hey, we got to get him. This young man can play at a different level. And so once they start believing and seeing in me and trusting in me and like picking me up or, saying working me out more, just being attentive to me, then, from then on I took it serious.
So talk about your high school experience. So freshman year, where did you attend? And then like how did the high school experience start transition? Because like you said, the Eagles, like 15-year-old year, it was like, man, you wanted to play on those teams because you knew
Yeah.
that was like the level that you wanted to reach.
Yeah. I graduated from Jennings Junior High. I was all around for a minute, man, in middle school, but I ended up graduating from Jennings Junior High my eighth grade year. I only went there 1 year.
Yeah, I ain't even know that.
Yeah, because I was in public schools, St. Louis public schools all my life. Malincrot, Mason, because my mom was a public school teacher, so she had me around in those schools majority of my life. And so, man, I graduated from Jennings my eighth grade year, and then she shipped me to Cardinal Ritter, which was on Thekla at that time, my freshman year. And all my neighborhood friends was there. Good, one of my best friends, still graduated from there. And then like that didn't make sense for me because I wasn't still mentally strong enough. The girls, the distractions, even though I was good, it was all black school. It was first for me. I'm like, I didn't care about basketball or grades. I just care about being hip, cool, and trying to fit in. And clearly, my mom seen that, and it just didn't work out. I had to sit out my second semester of the season because my grades wasn't up to par to where it needed to be at to stay eligible for my freshman year. And I had a chance to play with the Jahadi Whites, the Lauren Woods, the Chris Carrawells, and all those guys that played because Coach Preston Thomas was going to move me up after, I was having a really good freshman year. He was going to move me up for the run, but I messed up. And so my mom felt that a single gender school was probably going to be best for me. And when I played, I was just about to start playing with the Eagles that year. And, Derek Thomas, who was the head coach at CBC then, now he was assistant at SLU. He had an eye on me and, kind of like asked my mom, like, he might do better in a single gender school, and convinced her to send me to CBC my sophomore year, which was tough for me to do. I didn't want to go to an all white single gender school. Like, there was just no way, I coming from Jennings to Cardinal Ritter to this, it was different. So,
and this was the time CBC was on Clayton, because you went to is it Skinker, right?
Yeah, it was in Clayton. Yeah, it's Skinker. Yeah. Across from Esquire, and so a little bit smaller. And so now, can you hear me with them talking?
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah,
okay. And so now, like I was pissed because I didn't want to go, bro. I didn't want to go at all. Like, man, you got me messed up, taking away from my neighborhood guys, these girls, and all this. Now you want to send me to, all of this white school, predominantly white, all boys, and you want me to succeed. It was tough for me for the first 5-6 months because us coming up watching movies and seeing certain Beverly Hills and stuff like that, one black person in an all white school, how they look at them and things like that. And that was my mentality for the most of the part. So it took me a while to get adjusted, but I had Larry Hughes there. Clearly my best friend over 25, 27 years now, and so he made it a little bit easier for me. But then when the teachers started and the brothers of the school started to embrace me and started to help me, like, don't look at me as an athlete or as a black man. They look at me as a young, promising student who's trying to, make a way for himself. Because here at CBC, we give everybody a chance to have a great education, no matter where you come from or what color. And so once I started to understand and see the love that the teachers and the kids gave me, I dropped my guards down and, I started to try to develop what they seen in me. So that was probably one of the best decisions my mom made to get me out of Cardinal Ritter to go to CBC. And from then on, it was lights out. I started to make everything possible for me in a better environment when I was more focused at school.
Yeah. And we're going to kind of touch on that because, I mean, you a big advocate of St. Louis public schools. And even just like, I try to tell folks a lot of times, like, in a situation like, the private school situation where it's competition, where you might be in the class with someone who's trying to get to college, who's trying to get, to that next level. And, it's not so much the same if you're in the public school because, or even in a public like city setting to where folks are just trying to get by. Their mentality is, I just want to at least I want to be the first one to graduate high school. And to a certain degree, we should want more for ourselves in that sense, as opposed to just getting out, you know what I'm saying? Or just saying, oh man, if I graduate, I made it. But you might be in a classroom with someone that, they trying their best to, to go on to college and to do these different things. So it's kind of like a nurturing environment of everybody trying to, excel. Did you kind of feel that once you got there? It's like, man, I can't be messing around because this person over here ain't playing around in class.
For sure. But like some of them kids here take it to a different level, and our teachers understand that you might have a kid that's going to be a scholar in your class and he's knowing all the answers, he's knowing all this, but your teacher understands that you might not receive information as this kid does and doesn't look at you differently. But yes, that young man does challenge you a little bit to say, hey, even though I might not be able to remember everything he can, I can, get close to him and want to kind of, challenge myself to know what he knows. And, that was the kind of thing that I learned here at CBC. Like I'm like, man, this kid he's in the same neighborhood or the same color, but this kid knows all this math. He knows all this geometry. How do you know all this? Well, he takes extra time and stuff like that. And so that, even though I wasn't going to be as great of a scholar as potentially him, but I wanted to challenge myself. And that was a lot of things that we've seen and we respect out of each other here at CBC, because we know a lot of us here are athletes, student athletes, or whatever the case may be, but we're not slow or dumb or just a athlete. You know, we want to make sure that we challenge ourselves here as well, and that's big here, and that's what helped me out down there, and that's what turned the tables for me because I have peers my age who understand this information and retaining it. Why can't I do the same?
Mm-hmm. So let's kind of just touch on a little bit, going into like junior year, yeah, you on the map, man. You playing in front of like big crowds, and like the team is like the it team around St. Louis. So kind of talk about that experience of, you getting that shine as far as playing, being in big atmosphere games, and did the light click on to say, man, look, I can take this to the next level if I just, take it serious.
Right. It did, and then it flickered because my head coach, Derek Thomas, left to go to SLU to be an assistant coach to basically kind of reel me and Larry in to get there because, like you said, we were building our name and our program up. And when I said it flickered, because our assistant coach now, back then at that time that we, as 16, 17-year-olds, we didn't have a high level of respect for or whatever because he wasn't as tough or demeaning as our head coach. And so that year was a year that we wish we could have had back because we didn't do everything as hard, or we didn't sit up there and take everything seriously, or whatever the case may be, because we lost to Webster, who ended up winning the championship that year, and we had the better team by far. But we just didn't we didn't take everything seriously. So our junior year was really good, but it was unsuccessful because we didn't do what we were supposed to do. But just before the fact that we, at that time, as young men, didn't respect the coach at that, to help us get over the hump. But then it took us over to our senior year where, we couldn't let this go by. We just like, there was just no way.
Look, before you even got to that, because y'all had an amazing summer team. So let's just touch on the summer from just looking at, because I just remember it was I think it was the Camel X shootout. Like y'all had took the picture of that summer team. I think you guys won the national championship in the summertime. So talk about that experience as far as playing around, because when you look at the AAU scene, like typically that's always like, it's like the all-star team, like the local all-stars, and y'all build it and you around like all of the top area talent. So once you excel at the summer, when you come back to high school, it's like a who's who of everybody that's on those lists when you look at it from the area. So talk about that experience, because I think that probably kind of like jump started everything for you guys too.
You're right. Our summer team going into our junior year, man, we was probably the baddest mofos out in the Midwest. No tooting the horn, none of that, because we were, if you looked at us, we wasn't, a sexy looking team. We had tall white boys, we had short white boys, we had dinky black guys, we whatever the case may be. Well, we were a unit, and so that year we went 51-6. We won a national championship, and we won multiple tournaments, and everybody on that team had a Division I scholarship by the end of the summer. By the end of their high school year, they went to play Division I somewhere. That summer was big for us because we played the New York Riverside, who had Elton Brand, LeVar Postel, Ron Artest, Eric Barkley. We played, the Oklahoma team where had, Ryan Humphreys. We played everybody in our era that, was somebody, and we came and we beat them up. And the first time the Peach Jam has ever been created was our year. It was a year that that year, and it's been going. And we went to the Final Four. And we was just too tired, because we went from nationals the whole 10 days, and then we had to go from nationals to fly straight to the first event, first year of Peace Jam and try to play, and and try to win that too. But we was close. We was close, man. Made it to the Final Four. But that summer blew all of us up because, like you said, we came back and we, the city recognized what majority of us did, and we was on that KMOX on the flyer. But those guys, that bond, I haven't personally seen, another team or another program that has that tight knit for and understand everybody's role, because we knew Larry was the best player. We at the end of the day, there was no jealousy. We knew Johnny Parker was really good. Matt Boniak and all those guys. We all respected each other and built and fed off each other. And we had Melvin Williams, we had John Redden, all these guys. Went to
Brian Grauer, like you had all, like you said, it was a mixture of so many different guys who didn't look at it as just like, look, I'm trying to be the man, because you
Yeah,
already knew if you played on this team, when you go back to high school, you were going to put up numbers, because the way that the game, being competitive
yeah,
playing around the country, the
exactly.
game is going to slow down once you get to high school anyway.
Yeah,
So it was just
yeah.
kind of like y'all knew that no matter what, man, if we put this together right, man, we can do something special.
Yeah, and we praise the late Rich Great to helping them, to put us in our place. Like, we were all conceited. We were all, at the end of the day, we were big headed kids because we helped our high school team do this, but now we got to come in and know that Larry Hughes is the man. Like, what I'm saying? We love that he was the man because he brought attention to our team
Exactly.
and it helped us out. And people don't understand that now. We like, man, we need you to have a good game. We need you to do this because all those schools can't have you. You know what I mean? They can't have it. They need us. And so that's the type of stuff that I don't see too much not right now. Everybody's out to get theirs and not seeing how they can use that teammate on their team to help get theirs. And so and the AAU coaches are so tough it's so hard for us now because we got little time, a lot of tournaments, not that many practice to get these conceited guys to sit up there in jail and to help them get what they're so-called working hard for over the summer, is a basketball scholarship. And then knowing that if you go out here and show selfish motives and selfish ways and you lose, nobody wants that.
Right.
Nobody wants on their program. So, and that summer was big for us, brother.
And I used to always look at it as just like your AAU team, like that's the closest really at this level that you're going to get to like a college team, because once you go off to college, like you may be the man, and when you look at any college, roster, everybody is the man on their team.
Everybody.
But you have to play a role if you want to see the floor. And then, when you look at those teams that advance, they best players, like you said, sometimes everybody can't get theirs. But if you know that if I come to this, or if I approach it like, if I approach the summer like how college is going to be, it'll make for an easier transition to college. Do you think, would you say that?
Very much so. And that's how we try to have our practice. After 9 years, I'm back helping the Eagles coach again with RJ. And like, that's what the type of mentality I'm trying to help these guys out. Like, you guys need each other. You need to practice this way. We're teaching you different lingo, different understanding that your high school coach is not teaching, not because he doesn't know or she don't know. It's because out of 15 people, one of you might go Division I. So he can't sit up there and talk all this and do all this if, other 14 is just going to go to school or do something like that. So now you're learning lingo like you're supposed to prepare you for the next level. And some kids and some families, they accept it or understand it, and then, or they don't, and that's what and then that's why you'll see one of them in this doggone 2000 transfer portal or whatever the case may be, because they unwillingly to want to learn the mental part of the game, bro, or accept it, or accept their skill set or whatever the case may be. Everybody, it's not going to be in the the group of the 400, which is the NBA. Everybody's not going to do that, man. And right now it's a bad message because a lot of people think they are, and so even when, like, we can talk about it later when you want to, but with my kid, I've never really in early stage on dreamt that he was going to be in the NBA. All I wanted that boy to do was go to college for free. That was it. That was it. So like that was my mentality the whole time. It wasn't like, I'm saying, you finna be the next Kobe or you finna be the next Steph. Shit, that's damn near impossible.
Right.
But but we're here now, But still at that time at 4th or 5th grade, I never put that in his head because otherwise I'll send in a bad message, or mixed messages, and he might not even get close to that, or be where he's at today.
So even just talking about that, so you have a great summer and then leading up, man. And I want to kind of talk about this, man, because this is one of the flyest things that I saw, man, as a youngster, man. Like y'all signing day, man. Where did y'all find them sweatsuits at, man, or that sweatshirt? You know what I'm talking about, man? That Bilikens thing. I said, man, that's the coldest thing I done seen on the signing day, man.
It was, man. It was. We was looking hard for them things, man. But they sold them in stores when Bilikens was cracking with Jeff Harris and clagging them, had them rolling a little bit. They was getting some sweatshirts and stuff in the stores, and I knew I was going to SLU first. It was between SLU and Oklahoma State where I wanted to go, but I wanted to stay around close to the crib. And Larry, I convinced him a little bit later, He ended up doing his thing because he wanted to stay close to his brother and stuff like that. So I went to go get the sweatshirt first. And I said, you want one, brother? Because they got another large out here. So, but no, that was, man, that signing day was special, man. I got a chance to come out first and then he came, his was clearly bigger than mine, but then we did it together. And that was very special for us.
Yeah, because like I said, that led up to just having like a special senior year. Now going into your senior year, y'all knew y'all was the top, team that everybody had their eye on. But throughout the course of the year, did you guys ever look and see, all right, man, who's ahead? How are we gonna have to play this? Or did you guys look at it like no matter what, we
No
finna
matter what.
just run through everybody and try to get there?
No matter what. We tried to go play everybody at their school, the Bashards, the East. We didn't want nobody to come to our school to play us because we wanted to be prepared for the unknowing, which is the
Right.
road to the trip. So we wanted, we told Bob McCord, we don't want to play at home, period, unless it's our conference game. We don't want none of these people coming here. So we went to everybody place and try to prepare ourselves. The only person we didn't play at home was, on the road was B, and we wish they would have won their Final Four
Right.
games so we'd have played them in the championship. But we knew at that same year we wasn't going, we had RJ who was a sophomore at that time,
Mhm.
and then myself and Larry and Mark Stricker who played high level basketball, and everybody else was role players and knew their job,
Right.
and knew their job. And so going 28-4 that year was big for us, man, because we knew we had to let down our junior year, and Larry, himself knew mentally and physically that he's going to do whatever it takes, and this showed in that review game, which people still talk about today. Him scoring 40 points in front of all those people and helping us get to the Final Four, man. So yeah, we knew BT, we knew that we was just going to do our job.
So just, and I was gonna look it up, but so the 4 losses, who was the 4 losses against?
We had the Smet, Thornton from Chicago, Illinois.
Okay.
The Smet might have been twice, man, and no, Corner Ritter beat him in my junior year. It was one more. It was one more.
Okay.
I can't.
Was it with the shootout game?
That was the Thornton. That was the Thornton.
The Thornton game. Okay.
Yeah. And I believe we lost.
I was trying to think because I was like, man, y'all ran through pretty much everybody. And then when you look and you see Riverview, I think at the time Riverview might have only lost like 1 game. And so I just remember standing in line at UMSL like, man, I got to see this game. And, y'all put on the show. And it just kind of like, I think the V ended up losing the game to be able to play you guys, because that was like the thing. Like we wanted to just be able to, like y'all was on the collision course all year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The whole city was coming up for that game, man. We was sitting behind the bench cheering for them, like, come on, win this game. And when they lost, we was pissed. We don't want to go play no Truman in the state championship game. We wanted to get them guys, the Lamont Bonners and all of them, man, and be able to go at it. So, but unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. And but we got us one though. So I was all that matter.
So talk about just the transition into college as far as a lot of times, we look at it, we just have, like we were just talking about with summer ball, we automatically think once we go in, we finna just dominate just like we just did high school. Was it a learning curve as far as the actual playing once you got there, as far as like, man, this is physically demanding, it's demanding on all aspects, because it's like you don't have any time to yourself unless it's the little time, a little window at night, and you got to make a choice on what you want to do, because you got to get up and do this thing all over again the next day. So was it like a learning curve when you first came in?
Major learning curve, man, because I'm still have a lot of growing up to do. Now, mind you, me going into college, I'm just now conceived my 6'9", 6'10" kid. You know what I mean? Because he was born March 3rd, 1998, and I'm just turning 19 in March 10th. And so me learning how to become a dad and then get adjusted to college, I mean, I still wonder how the hell I did it. You know what I mean? And how he was able to become as solid and as good as he is now. But the structure of the structure I had to go through, I wasn't used to it. I mean, CBC kind of got you together, but the structure of college is totally different, man, because your mom is not waking you up. Your coach is not calling you. They're expecting you to be there. They're expecting you to sit up there and get these grades done and be on time for class. Like, and then you're like, man, I got freedom. So I got freedom. No, you really don't. You got freedom to get your butt up on your own, to get to somewhere where you're supposed to be accountable to be at, which is class, practice, or study hall, whatever. And that took a minute for me, you know what I mean? So it took a minute for me, and still trying to get in the playing shape and in the speed of the game. But, once again, I adjusted, I figured it out, and I learned how to get it done, man. And college was a great experience for me. But the speed of the game, the physicality, the you being dependent on in an independent setting, because you got to do everything on your own, you know what I mean? And so, but if you don't do it, there's consequences, and the consequence is you on this $50,000 to $70,000 scholarship a year, and if you don't do it, that you get your butt out of there. It's yearly, and a lot of those kids don't know, and so like a coach can kind of wiggle you out when he or she ever wants to. So like it's a lot of things that you got to mature to grow up, especially at that level. These coaches' jobs are on the line. Us, we can sit up here and have 4, 5, 8 bad seasons, and be great mentors and teachers in the building, and we know our job is secure, not the college coach. So you kind of got to change up a little bit and be respectful of their program.
So just talk about just making the transition, because you played for Spoon Hour and Romar, and just having that identity of like, I was put in that position too, to where the coach that I came in to play for, they ended up leaving for whatever reason, and then you got to play for another coach. Did you ever have anything in your mind that just said like, man, I don't, and I guess you kind of went through it a little bit in high school, so you was already prepared for it. And then, at this level, it's a business. So, if someone else has to leave, you have to respect it like a business and do what you're supposed to do to handle your business.
Yeah, it was tough for me because Romar kind of Spoonhour kind of recruited me up under Derek Thomas, and then when when Spoonhour retired and Romar came in, it was difficult because Romar came with this Principia West Coast mentality. He's understanding with his West Coast kids, and we had to adjust to him. Us local guys or guys that he didn't know, we had to adjust to him, and everything wasn't peachy keen. While he was there, but learning who he was and learning what his mentality was and how to try to get us now or years later, I respect the mess out of him because there was a lot of things I probably wouldn't be able to do as a coach if I didn't learn up under his tutelage mentally, be able to prepare myself for what I've done in the last 14 years as a coach. So the transition was tough. It was a lot of bumping heads, a lot of this man don't get me, or I don't get him, or whatever the case may be. But, learning and listening actually what he says in team meetings and stuff like that, and just one-on-one meetings, clearly it didn't make sense one ear out the other then. But, down the road is like how to approach things. Like, I talked to him actually about a couple of weeks ago, and I really thanked him, for, even though we wasn't the best of terms, but thank you because, now I can see, what you was trying to do or what you was really coming from. So, it was tough, but we won with Romar. We won. We was a Cinderella, and that year with Justin Love, we beat DePaul and Cincinnati and all them and won the conference tournament. And so we got a chance to play in the tournament. We was terrible that year, so we kind of turned it on towards the end.
Y'all beat a banged up Cincinnati team. With Kenyon Martin and all of them guys. And then I think was that the year they was like number one like all year, right?
All year. They beat the sleeves off of. We had our bags packed in the hotel before we went to go play them. The bus loaded. We know we going home. So, we ain't packing. I ain't packing enough underwear. And then we won the game. I'm like, we gotta go to Walmart. We could have been here a couple of days, But it was crazy, man. It was a hell of a feeling. So, but that's the unexpected. Like you got to put in that work, man, and believe in each other. Like a lot of those kids and, teams and stuff don't understand that, man. You got to be able to believe. You always have a chance. When they throw that ball up, you always got a chance, no matter what. Unfortunately, Kenyon Martin, broke his ankle or whatever at that day. It helped us. He still got his money. He's still rich, but we won that game and kind of helped St. Louis tradition and the life of Bilikens basketball, be believable again and got kids coming in after that. So it was best. It was good for us.
Mm-hmm. So just, I usually ask a lot of the guests, like, just talk about, do you think that during college was a time where you kind of, went through adversity, or would you just say it happened earlier when you was just, trying to mature coming through high school and kind of, bouncing from school to school? But then would you say that during college, going in with expectations, would you just say that you dealt with a lot of adversity then? And then how did you come out on the other side of dealing with that adversity?
Yeah, college was probably my toughest time to deal with adversity as far as like having a kid. I ruptured my patella tendon in my kneecap into my senior year. I was a prop kid, so I didn't play until my sophomore year. I had a whole big deal with the ACT. So I dealt with a lot of adversity at college, man. And then I got my year back and played my last semester at McKendree and got a chance to go to the Final Four with them. So within that 97 to that 03, that 6 year span, man, it was just like, Justin, grow up, or, be a statistic, or you're going to be out here having the wheel work with food sign, walking around it, man. And I grew up because I was getting hit every direction, man. And I never gave up, because once I ruptured my patella tendon, broke my kneecap in a Bonner League game, and the best summer of my life has been being in shape and ready to go for using that 5th year for SLU, and in that summer, and I broke it. Like, I could have just shut down. Like, you know what I'm saying? That was it for me, because I never felt so much pain. But I got in, I rehabbed, and I was doing my best to try to come back to play for SLU, and I re-ruptured it in rehab.
So
Doing rehab.
hold on. So you were playing in a game and ended up getting hurt in the Bonner League, like.
Yeah, so when the Bonner League was at the Vashon on Cass, Bonner League used to be there, and we was playing, and Bonner League game on a Sunday or whatever afternoon. My son was in the gym with me. I'm coming up in to dunk the ball. The floors weren't always great, so I had a little slick spot, broke my kneecap, ruptured it. This was in my senior year, going into my senior year of college. I'm in my best shape of my life. I've been Romo and them have expectations for me. I'm trying to get everything together, and that happens. And then everything goes downhill. So the doctor said, man, it's about a year recovery. So I'm like, man, I tried to cut this thing in like 8 months. So I'm trying to get back or whatever to get for the second semester of SLU to play, and, rehab, and I re-ruptured it again, and so I had to have surgery again on my knee, which tell me that, if this doesn't kill your confidence, I don't know what does, so but at the end of the day, I'm back at it, rehabbing again, and I know now that SLU's like, I really ain't gonna take a chance. You're not gonna be ready for high level Division I basketball. Me understanding that, so I shot myself around, and I almost went to Emporia State, but McKendree was like, man, we right across the highway. We got a home for you. We'll help you get together. But I really wasn't 100%. I played for McKendree probably on 48, 50%. You know what I mean? My knee is probably
that's
about
before this science of if you get injured now, it's like you can bounce right back within, like you said, within a year, and then folks don't understand just the mental aspect of even just going through rehab, because it's like a hurry up and wait, and I just recently, they said like 2 years ago, ruptured my Achilles, and that was probably like the worst time of my life trying to get back into it. And the mental part, like, man, I got to sit here and do this simple thing, like basically like trying to learn how to walk all over again, taking baby steps, but thinking like, man, if I just do this one day, it'll come back the next. Like, nah, this is a process.
It's a process, man. And then you got to be mentally tough. And so I did it again. And, you know what I'm saying? Now it was like, whatever. So I had another credit left that I can take over to McKendree and be eligible for NAIA. And I'll transfer that credit, which was math. Once I take that class on McKendree and transfer that over to SLU and get my SLU degree. And that's what I did. But I played over McKendree the second semester, took the math class, was rehabbing all first semester while the team was playing, trying to get better. And I played second semester, and we went to the Final Four. We lost in California in the Final Four. And then after that, I went overseas to play a little bit for about a couple of years. But the college was probably my toughest adversity that I had to go through, because of all those things that happened to me and all the things I had to adjust to while having a kid that you're not used to seeing on TV doing this thing. Like, and not miss a day of a game or be in his life or whatever, all that. And what I learned all those techniques from A, my mom, B, the coaches and the men that's been around me who were trying to be a father figure to me while having their own kids, and still trying to learn from all that. And that was one of the, that was some of the things that I've learned a lot, because college was very important for me. It helped me, and it tore me down a little bit, but it also made me build myself up to get to where I am and be able to help some of these young men and women out today.
Right. I think that's like one of the most important things people have to realize, that it's going to be a process like that in college, where it's like, breaking you down and then building you back up to the person that ultimately who you can become, moving forward. So when did you get the bug for, as far as like coaching or even thinking about going back into education? Because I know you talked about just coming from a family of educators, just, was it like a natural progression to just say, look, I'm a teacher, let me just go back and do this?
Hell to the no. Now, when I was overseas in Amsterdam playing, man, like, I'm sure you was overseas, right, playing for a little bit. And so, like, we don't play like they do in college or the league over here. We play maybe one game a week or maybe two. So I had to buy some of my time. And so my time, I went into, the little group settings over there in my country. help with coaching camps and stuff like that. And, those kids looking up to me like, man, you play for our pro team out here, and just got a chance to just, ease my mind and play. And so when my son Jayson he came over watched me play over in Amsterdam once, and his mom was like, man, there's so many people trying to get him to play here and play there and coach him and do this. I'm like, well, nah, there's nobody else going to teach him like I'm gonna teach him. So I decided to come home after 2 years. I said, I got my I made it to my goal to get paid playing basketball. That was my main thing. You know how we always said at lunchtime, I want to make the NBA. I want to get paid playing this somehow, some way. And overseas filled that for me. I didn't want to rupture my kneecap twice and not get a dime for it. You know what I mean? Being a professional. So once I fulfilled that void, and I came back home after 2.5, 3 years overseas, and I'm like, come on, son, let's play. I created teams for them. I got stuff, and then we little league teams, and we just started doing the YMCA and all that other stuff. And as he become fourth and fifth and sixth grade, I got a chance to get back over, be assistant coach up under my head coach that I helped win a championship with, Bob McCormick, and he got me on the staff when I got back over in 06, I believe. In 06, he got me on the staff, and I'm me being in the varsity coach, helping the kids here, and I'm like, well, he's winning games, we're doing here and there, but it's still, I got an itch, like I can do this, I can do things differently, or I can do things better, or I can relate, like I just, I felt I can do better. So after being up under him a year, I reached out to the St. Louis Public Schools when my mom was in, because I was doing, I was a substitute. I had to find a little odd job to come back to get some money and stuff like that. I was a substitute, and she heard that her friend Dr. Kayson had a opening at Soldan for basketball. He's a SLU graduate and stuff like that. So I filled it on out, and a couple of weeks later he called me back. He was like, he said, you really want this job? I'm like, shit, yeah. Why not? I've been in, substituting for a year now, so like that. I know what it is in the system. I want to coach. He said, well, I don't have no expectations for you. We're not worried about winning. Just keep the kids in class, out of trouble. I said, I don't know who you're talking to, but I got to win. I'm gonna do all those other things, but I want to win. And so he gave me a chance, man, and that was in 07 to become the head coach there. And I mean, it was like the lean on me times, bro. Like, it was a wide eye opener for me. I didn't know how, at the end of the day, going to CBC out there, which is, where I'm at now, and back down there, I'm like, man, this is crazy, but at the end of the day, I loved it. You have to love it. You have to want to see these kids doing better. And that's when I found that itch, and it was over for that, man. I've been 14 years later, I'm right here.
Man, so and I want to kind of talk about that. So having your Soldan team, and you won throughout your stint at Soldan, but then having like a special group that you was able to kind of like watch them grow up from their first year, and then be able to, I think what you guys finished, and I mean you guys went to state almost every year, and then was able to top it off. They senior year. So he kind of talk about that, and then having Jayson in those, practicing, having him around, and then we'll talk about even just making that transition to ultimately getting to play against him and game planning against him. So talk about the Soldan team.
Yeah, so that Soldan team helped me really define my career, man. People don't understand those boys, like they kind of made me who, the recognition that I'm able to have today and build off of. For the fact that they all decided they were at different middle schools, but they were neighborhood friends if they played in football together or whatever the case may be. And they all decided to want to come to CBC. I mean, not CBC, Soldan. And so it was like 7, 8 of them, you know what I mean? And then I'm like, I was blessed because now I don't really have to teach chemistry or people that like each other. That was one thing I didn't have to work on as much. I had to work on the ins and outs, X and O, stuff like that. These guys genuinely like each other and challenge each other. And so that made it so much easier for me, because when they came in their freshman year, we made it all the way to district championship. I think we lost to Career Academy, Jerome Jones and them at Gateway, which they could have went either way, beat us by a half court shot. Those kids could have made the state 4 years in a row. But seeing those kids as freshmen fight so hard and and play so well, and they came in, all of them come in with dreads. I call them little shit locks, man. It was everywhere. And then like terrible bad grooming. And then after we lost, you know, they all, you know, I made a recommendation for all of them to cut their hair. Let's look a little bit more presentable. Let's try to do this because, you know, you guys got to grow up and look different. You know, this, you know, you can't just look all scrungy and all that. So all of them cut their hair. All of them did something different over the summer, played well, and came back even better, man, mentally that sophomore year. And from then on, we was rolling. You know, when we made it to state their sophomore year, I'm just like them, you know, green, fresh, don't know what the hell to expect, don't know what's going on. And, you know, we played Borgia, who is an experienced team coach, is a Hall of Famer, and, you know, they've been rolling a mid-major on their team. And so we didn't get over that hump, you know, but we got a chance to go there and we won the third place game their sophomore year. So we come on back bigger and stronger junior year, feeling we're going to do the same thing. You know, and then there we was experienced, but we just wasn't, and once again, let's start from the head to the top. Wasn't probably experienced enough or tough enough mentally to get over Borgia again, you know, who got a chance to beat us. So we go back and we win the third place, you know, again. But within that time, you're right. I had a golden child that comes practice with us and plays because as just as tough as I was on them, I was even 10 times hard on him because, I mean, he wanted to come to the gym. He was very supportive of the Pete and Pauls and loved the soda and tradition, loved the band and loved all the excitement that came with it. So he'll call his grandma every day. You come to pick me up from school because she'll go pick him up and bring him straight down here to practice with me. And, you know, he'll start working and getting on his skills. So he will be, his first year he did it, you know, I had him working with the JV team because he you know, a little dangly or whatever, but then he was getting his shot off. He was breaking people down. I mean, he was only 11, if that, you know, and this is my sophomore team who are freshmen and sophomores and maybe some juniors in the PHL, you know that on the JV. So I'm like, well, now let me turn you up to these guys, you know, Pete's and Paul's his junior and senior year. And he won the challenge. He came. And so as he's in every practice running 17s and lines, and now he's on the scout team, he's getting his butt tore up because Pete won't let him bring the ball up. And he's crying in front of Pete and being like, you know, and he's like, man, put somebody else in. I said, hell no. You're going to bring this ball up, and Pete, you better not let him. But you better figure out a way. And so Jayson, after probably that first day he didn't get it done, to come back the next day, he found a way. He went home and told his mom, you know, supportive, like, nah, man, you better get your butt and get it together. I don't want you to come home crying. The next day he brought the ball up the court. He figured out he passed the ball up early. He's like, shit, Pete, tear my butt up. Let me pass the ball up early. But things like that, man, you know, help my team, help him, you know what I mean, just to see, help my team because they seen an 11-year-old, 12-year-old going against some 16, 17 and was unfazed, you know what I mean, after he was told what he can do. And it helped him clearly to understand that I don't care who I go across. You know, you can see today he was going to give you what you got. So it was a blessing for both of us. It was tough for me because, you know, people understand, how did you coach him? Like, you got to, like, our relationship is different. I almost broke Jayson. Like, we almost broke our relationship because, once again, we're only 19 years apart. And at that time, I'm at one of my peak level of coaching or playing. So, you know, I'm a competitor. I don't look at you as my son. I look at you as somebody not doing what the hell I asked you to do. And, you know, and so he had to take some time to understand that. And then when we were done, you know, when we leave the gym, now we're back to, you know, dad and son, which was still hard for him to adjust to because, like, he was just firing off of me 10 minutes ago and 15 minutes later, you cool? Like, nah, you know, we had to learn that, man. But now we laugh and talk about it all the time, and knowing that if that didn't happen, I'm not sure how mentally tougher he would be today. He'll still probably be where he's at. But, you know, some of those guys don't have that Luka, that, you know, that just that mentality at a young age to come in here and just dominate the league. And I contone a lot of that to the things that we put him in through Soda.
Yeah, because I remember, and even my wife, she remember we used to play, I think, at Maplewood. And I think we were down maybe like 4 guys. I mean, we was missing somebody, and he came in there.
Oh, yeah,
so
I
remember she asked me one time, she was just like, that little boy ain't gonna get hurt. I'm like, I don't know. But he had the awareness to just look, let me just stand in this corner, and when this ball gets swung to me, let me get my shot off. And once he started knocking it down, I'm like, shoot, man, he to see a secret weapon because we ain't got to work as hard because he can get his shot off. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So that was dope. And so just like I said, all right. So them seeing, because I think we might have, we were supposed to play. I think that year I was at Beaumont, and I
Mm.
just remember him always being around that team,
Yeah,
and then like seeing that
yeah,
the bond and like knew that these guys were on a path to not only compete all the way but try to win it this year. Do you think
hmm
that kind of set himself up to like next year, once I get into high school, I'm finna
for
just
sure.
dominate? Because
For
I mean, he came right out the gates bussing
yeah,
freshman year.
yeah, for sure. And that's how his talks is. Like how many of you talking, he'd be the same way in the car. Like he said, no way I'm playing freshman team, and wherever I go, he for sure he wanted
Mhm.
100% play for me at Soul Man. But walking through metal detectors and all that, I couldn't
Oh
convince all
yeah,
my parents.
yeah.
To, we eventually like, all right. But he was just like, there's no way that I'm not going to sit up here and try to dominate this my freshman year when I go out here. And I said, there's no way I'm not going to allow you not to think that you're not going to do it, because that's what you're supposed to do. That's what we've been working for. You don't go against the number one defender in the state for the last 3 years to get to high school to be to be scared of somebody. Like there's just no way. Like nobody else has done this. Nobody else has went against Paul and got dunked on by Paul. I had to guard Paul in the post or things like that. So like you are well prepared than more of the guys in your class. So he took that man, and once Kelvin Lee and them gave a chance, because at first they put him at the 4, try to screen and post. Like nah, bro. We got to talk about it, because he'll eventually get there, but nah, he's going to make your team so much better. Put the ball in his hand. And when Kelvin Lee figured that out, he was like, thank you. They went from there. But now he always wanted to find a way to, win. He wanted to win multiple championships, man. But I told him it's tough. But as long as you got one, man, you're successful.
Yeah. And so, and then, and we'll kind of get to this in just real shortly, but just talk about just your experience, because you go from, being on the one seat over from your high school coach to
Mm.
replacing your high school coach at your alma mater.
Yeah.
What was that like going in? And I'm pretty sure from the expectations from what Dr. Kayson had, it was huge expectations coming in to CB. And it was like, look, it's either, you got to get us over the hump in a
Yeah.
sense,
Yeah.
because I mean
Yeah.
you took over for him.
Yeah, they he had a all-star team, with a Jordan
Yeah.
Barnett, Pat McCall, and Ray Dovey, and they didn't have as much success as they would like have had to, up under his tutelage. So coming in with that expectation, I mean, CBC didn't say it, what I mean, but you can feel it, in the
Yeah.
interview or when you talk to them, like we got to, we got to win districts, we got to, we got to do something. And then unfortunately, I lost Pat McCall and Ray Dovey to whatever means they wanted to do, if they didn't want to play for me or want to do other best things. They're doing fine now, which is probably fine. But so my leverage went from here down some more, because now I lost 2 high major, 1 pro and a high major player, and now I have Jordan Barnett and a lot of other good guys who felt they should have played more or should have done more. So a lot of different type of egos. So I had to come in there and figure it out, and figure out how to relate to not not sold in type kids, but not, I'm not gonna say privileged, but not hurting. Kids
Right.
who are okay, who are parents who are active. I went from, parents who wasn't active or don't exist to, do exist, got a lot of here, or want a lot of, and so I had to adjust to that stuff as well. But I came in firm, bro. Like I came in firm. I came in like, clearly I went to state 3 years in a row, won once. You guys haven't even sniffed it since I graduated from here. So let's listen to me and let me figure it out, because I had to learn my ways to get to that point, and now I got to adjust you kids and you families in the school to get there as well. And we were blessed, bro. Like I didn't want to. We were blessed to win my first year here. We had to play. Shaman and I lost in the districts, but we had to play Jayson twice that year. But the thing is, we were, it was kind of like the Soldan team. Though my senior group were so tight knit, I didn't have to teach the unselfishness, or the egos. I just had to teach the toughness, the fight through adversity, the X's and O's and stuff like that, and give them some life. The likelihood of them liking each other, seeing extra play, they did naturally, and so that helped. And I see in my future teams that it's hurting me, because those guys don't have that instinct of, this is my guy in front. Yeah, he don't have 0 points, but this is the right play to make. Instead of let me try to split 2 or 3 people because I just made a shot, and I didn't have to fight through that, man. So that's what kind of made it a little bit easier for that team, man. But it was a blessing to win the state the first year coming in. raised the bar high as hell because, they expect it every year.
Right.
But, I've been back maybe once or twice since then, man, but it's been tough, but especially in class 5 and now 6A, but it was,
Mhm.
the expectations was not verbally said, but you kind of felt the aura of, we need to win. We need to win now.
Right. And then just because I mean you kind of touched on it, but just talking about like your AAU experience, we talk about chemistry, how huge chemistry is. And I think I mean, that's something right there. That's, I mean, it's a lot to say about that. And so
Yeah.
when we look at the state of like, summer ball right now, like how do you go into the season, or how do you look at like your high school team, but then having like elite kids, let's say, maybe playing on different teams,
Yeah.
because I always looked at it like if we were lucky enough to have some elite kids, I would want them kind of playing with each other to kind of, to have it to where it's like a cheat code in the sense to where they get an experience playing with each other already where I can't, put my hands on them. So when we
Uh-huh.
come back, the chemistry is already there. But when we look at the state of like Missouri hoops, where we got, Mo Cam and Brad Beal and how do you feel as far as the approach of kids picking two different teams that maybe play on, both elite teams, but you have to be the high school coach to kind of like bring it back together? Like talk about that real quick.
So when they come back from the AAU teams, you mean
Yeah,
to
yeah,
try to
yeah.
get
And
them
then
out?
because
Okay.
ultimately you want to build chemistry, but
Right.
then if they playing with other teams and other programs, you kind of have to like reconnect that chemistry in a sense.
Yeah, we try to have an exit meeting, man, for the ones, the sophomores, juniors, and then I try to talk to them about that a little bit of what I expect when they come back. I said, I know you guys going now to try to get yours or what's supposed to be yours and work for what you're trying to get to. But when we come back, we have to kind of like dissolve that mentality. It takes a minute, bro. It takes a minute. I mean, all the fall workouts and stuff like that, you see it so blatantly, you know what I mean? And knowing that we can't really do anything constructive wise or like in there to kind of break it, we just got to roll the balls out or talk to them afterwards and say, hey, do this and do that. But it really don't come into practice. But, I kind of work it out and keep reminding during the course of the fall and tell them. But it is tough because, you don't want them to not try to get theirs or not try to get their acknowledgement because, if they don't do it in the summertime, unless we have that connection with that college coach, a lot of those college coaches don't just pop up in our gyms or ask us, what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So they got to kind of put the name out there for themselves. But when they come back, it's I'm a strict, I'm a disciplined guy, man. I mean, like I hate bad basketball. So if them guys know they either on the line, I throw the ball away, you run some steps, whatever. Get this stuff out of your system. Let's get back to playing right. Because I want you to do your thing, but I don't want you to sit up there and just think you're the man. I don't have a man on my team. If it is, it's me. You know what I mean? So
Exactly.
that's the only man on the team. So like my thing is with them. So I do my best as far as like talk them through it before they start AAU. I said, please work on your game, do you, be aggressive, you know what I'm saying? Have some selfish moments, but come back and knowing that I don't need those selfish moments here. You know what I mean? But I do need a competitive edge and what you learn and your will to win a fight against high level athletes to bring it back here and challenge our guys who are the 13, 14, 15 guy that might not go nowhere, but need to see that leadership that you gained over the summer and bring it back and help us out. So those are the types of things I try to talk to them about. But, when they do come back, I try to chisel that selfishness out, bro. It's hard though.
Nah, because that's just I think my big approach is just, ultimately, having that chemistry when you got, like you said, kids are trying, we want you to promote yourself and
Yeah,
get out here and be seen, but having that goal of where, I don't want you to, not take my stuff as serious as if you taking your game as far as you trying to get there just as
right.
serious. Like ultimately it got to come back here. And, I want
It
you to
do.
kind of keep that in mind.
Yeah, it definitely do because we're the ones advocating for them. We're the ones checking their grades. We're the ones making sure all their stuff is in line to get to where they need to be. And don't come back and, excuse my French, shit on me because you sat up here and had to gain a little confidence over the summer and played a little well one or two tournaments, and you'll come back up here and not even want to talk to my 13, 14 guy or not listen to my assistant or not pass the ball just because you had a little success over the summer. That don't work because I'm still in charge of talking to those college coaches, getting your stuff together. And it's not your AAU, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because AAU only there for a couple months, and here and there, I'm with you for 4 years and 6-7 days a week and all that. So let's make sure we stay on top of it and don't bring those selfish back over the summer and help and mess up our chemistry. chemistry in our team.
Right. So talk about what you got for the summer, man. Summer camps, get the dates out. Like, cause I mean, you someone I look at when I'm putting my little schedule together. I'm like, all right, man, I got to plan around what Justin got going on. Cause look, I ain't finna be, man, working my butt off, man. And this dude got all type of stuff going on. Look, I'll bow out gracefully. So go ahead, man.
You see, I got my Tatum, it's too small, man, right now. That's why I had to find a little one, man.
I was gonna ask you, been working out, man. You look chiseled over there.
Yeah, man, I walk past the weight room every day, but I don't really touch it too much. I just walk past. But no, I got the summer camp starting in the third week of June, man. If you go to TatumNation.com, we got 5 weeks this year, this summer. We'll have 3 full camps, which means from 9 to 3. Then we'll have 2 half-day camps from 12 to 3. So there's nothing. I haven't put the elite or skills and things like that. I just have it open because I want kids to get out the house and have some fun and just get back to being a normal kid. I don't want them to feel that they're somebody who they can't even, touch or be around because he or she is so good. So it's open to kids from 7 to 14, boys and girls. If you go to TatumNation.com, they have all the information on there, man. It'll be a great summer. We're doing all the COVID precautionary reasons and things like that, all that'll be up there. But they're allowing us to get these kids back out the house, man, which they need to be, and be around some peers and safe. So we'll have great fun out this way. I don't mess with the South Side, man. Any camper from the South want to come on out, that's fine. But I don't mess around with BT. I think it's cool. But anybody out west, come on through. But no, it's all for the good, man. We out here supporting each other. Anything you need for your camps, and same thing for me, bro. All right, we got each other back.
Yeah, no, I just think the kids need to get out here, man. So I'm just looking for at least somewhat of a normal summer this summer, man. So, and I appreciate you jumping on here, man.
Man, thanks for having me, brother.
We're gonna shoot this to the moon, man, and we'll catch up down the road. But finish enjoying, man, the rest of the school year, man. God bless you, man. Everything you got going on, and
thank you, man.
Let man stay in Jayson ear, man, about shooting that rock, man, and getting the boys over that hump, man. All right.
Yeah, I will do, man. I don't gotta say too much. He shoot about 15 threes a game, so shit, he's shooting enough. So it is what it is. But man, I appreciate you, bro. All love, man. All love. Thank you, man.